Can we do it? Can we do it? Is Patrick Laine coming home? Oliveira would be the one to do it. Just so you guys can see the base values that we're working with. But again, they don't want to trade him. So I doubt 1-for-1 goes through. It does not. That's expected. That's expected. So Laine, right wing, left wing. So that right wing side is shaping up to be Kapanen. It's shaping up to be younger. I mean, Kapanen wouldn't be the worst to keep. But then it would be like Laine, Kamel, Koivunen. We'd have to get super young. Kapanen in the middle six would still be great. Whereas on the left is the place to look. Because it could be Pettinen, Järventie, Luostarinen could stay because he's good defensively. This could be the time to trade Teuvo Teravainen at 30 years old. Left side, Pettinen, Järventie, Teuvo. Right side, Laine, Kapanen, Kamel. I think Teuvo's going. I think he is. Now, obviously, I'm not going to make this more difficult than it has to be. We can just take on Ryan Donato and then drop him. That's fine. But this would be a pretty big deal. If they decline this, I am going to safety net it, but yeah, if they decline this, that complicates things a little bit. How do they feel about Teravainen and Oliveira for Laine and 3/3? What if we take out, make it 2/3? What about 1/3? Don't tell me Laine is going to be too expensive. What about a 4th? Fuck. Okay, that complicates it a little bit. That complicates things just a tad. Reevaluating who's out there. We'd likely still go for it. Other options on the wing. Tolvanen, Ilanen, Hatanen, Ratu. I'm not willing to add that much more. I'm really not. We know Yoki Haru's probably going anyway. Devs quite a bit. We're still not a playoff team, but we're looking a lot better. What about Yoki Haru? We take on more dead cap. Quite far off. The Patrick Laine dream is dead. I'm not willing to give up that much more to get him, especially when he's going to be a UFA at the end of next season. Calling it off. Calling it off. Laine's not happening. Too expensive. Too expensive, unfortunately. Which means I think we probably make this pick. Because I should be able to get Honka with Oliveira. And he's the most important piece. Can I pull off that deal with Carolina for the defenseman, Anthony Honka? So where is Oliveira? There he is. I mean, this should, in theory, work. Can I get any draft picks back? Not that they really want to trade any. They have a shitload of 3rd rounders. Oliveira for Honka and a bunch of picks. Done deal. Okay, so Oliveira's out, but we bring in Anthony Honka, which is fantastic. Let's go out to Dallas and look to bring in Esa Lindell, who is a UFA. And that means on defense, we can give up Hakanpää, Yoki Haru, and Salo. Just to move on from people to try to get it done. Honestly, we could just use Yanni Hakanpää, to get this done. Safety net it really quickly. Yanni Hakanpää for Esa Lindell. And hopefully a 6th. All right, Yanni Hakanpää for UFA, Esa Lindell, and a 7th. Done deal. Esa Lindell, welcome to the team. Okay, so we are wheeling and dealing. Let's call one more timeout. I still don't know if we're making the pick. There are other names I'm interested in, but our defense just took a huge, huge step forward. So again, it is Ville Heinola on the left, Lassie Thompson on the right. Then we get Anthony Honka on the right. Lindell will probably be with him on the left. We could then flip Valimaki or keep him, but honestly, probably flip him. Haimasalmi on the right. Yeah, it's got to be Lindell or Valimaki. And obviously Valimaki's younger, but it won't be long before Kiviharju's in the top 6 anyway. Valimaki's at least under contract, has a little bit more value than Lindell right now. Jokiharju is out. If there's any decent value for him, last we knew it was a 5th, which to be honest, I'm willing to take my chances. Robin Salo is also going to be out. Oli Mata is going to be out. If he can be, if we can get any sort of assets for these guys, I mean, they're players we could pick up in free agency again later on. So for the most part, that defense is looking complete. And again, Yermo could be flipped as well. So the forwards, that's what we have to decide on. And right now, that right wing side is Kasperi Kapanen. Don't know if Armia is sticking around. To be honest, it's probably Kapanen, Kamel, Teksola, and Koivunen is, I think, who we will look to have there. We might bring back Armia if he's cheap enough, just in case. Same with Puljujärvi. And Kiviranta, if it makes sense. Left wing. If we don't make the big Laine trade, which I don't think we can at this point, it's Pettinen, probably Järventie, Teuvo, and Luotz-Storinen. So honestly, Teuvo could go. I don't know if we have any value for Heponiemi or Koivula. Altonen for that matter as well. And then centers, it is Aho. At the moment, Kotkaniemi. Haltinen definitely deserves a spot. We got a lot of depth down the middle. And Oliver Kapanen. So Teuvo could still go. Kotkaniemi could still go. Do we do that to pull off the Laine deal? One more timeout. We're going to need it. I told you this would be a big decision. This is reminding me of some of those Leafs drafts, to be honest, where we take half an hour before I even make a pick. And go figure, their pick is next. So really quickly, if I were to look at Montreal, Jesse Ilonen is a name that came to mind. He fits, but not really. Like, he would take a spot away from, like, Teksola. I mean, he could fit on the team, but he's not amazing. Nashville has Parsonen. As a center, he doesn't fit. We already have way too much depth there. He does not fit. Seattle has Eli Tolvanen. I mean, you could swap and factor him in for Tavo's spot, or maybe even the Texola spot that we were considering Laine for. A couple different options there. And then again, they have a little bit of extra depth. Tampa has Hatanen. I think he's a center. Oh, he's a right wing. So he's in the same category as Ilanen, Tolvanen. Good to know. Good to know. Toronto had those depth defenders. It's probably not worth trading anything for them because we might just be able to get them later for nothing. Again, those two were Kuokkanen and Topiniemela, who are going to be fine, but not amazing. They don't have a spot on my defense at all. Vancouver has Ratu. And I mean, swapping him out for Kotkaniemi might not be the worst idea in the world. Might not be the worst idea in the world if we could pull that off. And then Vegas had that one other player in Nyman as a winger who was in the same conversation. Okay. We're going back to Columbus. Can we work out a deal for Patrik Laine? That is the question. It would involve this 19th overall pick. Instead of taking Inkinen. Defensively, it could also involve Juuso Valimaki, Joni Jurmo, who both have to go. Could involve Teuvo Teravainen. Could also involve Kotkaniemi, but I feel like if it's Kotkaniemi, we got to have it be for his replacement. So it's the 19th overall pick in Teuvo Teravainen. I don't think that goes through on its own, but safety net it anyway. It's a lot to give up. That's my concern. Is it worth it when Laine could be a free agent next year? The problem is, if he's not a free agent, that means we're never going to get our hands on him. What if we also throw in Juuso Valimaki? '19th overall pick, Teravainen and Valimaki for Laine and Donato's contract. I'm just trying to think of all the assets we could get if we didn't do this. But are any of those assets going to be Patrik Laine? You know? What if we also have Joni Jurmo in there? And we add in Sean Corrali. It's just so much. Fuck. It's just so much to add to a trade. They do want Yoki Haru as well. We had Dan Heinen. Is that enough? Quite far off. Fuck. Laine is just too expensive, man. I tried. He's just too damn expensive. I hate to say it, but he is. Use our final timeout here, as crazy as that is. So at this rate, it's probably worth making that 19th pick. Do we want to try to swap out Ratu for Kotkaniemi? This is our only chance to do this. They're about even in points. Jesperi is probably never going to be that elite scorer. They're so similar, to be honest. The only difference is that Ratu has the badges. and is younger and can still develop, whereas Kokoniemi's 24. Honestly, I think we try to pull the trigger on this. I think we try. We'll take on Brock Besser's expiring deal. Try to swap out Kokoniemi for Ratu to get younger at that position. And we can safety net this a little bit with picks. Do we have a deal? Now do we have a deal? Now do we have a deal? If we go with the younger picks. The younger picks, the lower picks. Okay, I do have a little bit I can give up here. Shout out to Nelson for the follow, by the way. Appreciate you. Looking at me banging my head against the wall. What if we give them back Joni Jurmo? Kokoniemi and Jurmo to get Ratu instead of having Kokoniemi. Because again, Kokoniemi's value is never going to be higher. He's about to cap out. And hopefully we can get him back down the road for cheap as a third-line center. Or we'll be keeping him. Or we'll be keeping him. Fuck. What if we also have Yoki Haru? Kokoniemi, Jurmo, Yoki Haru. I need to get rid of Valimaki as well. What if we do Valimaki instead of Yoki Haru? They'd be over the cap, but not really, because it's an expiring deal. I fucking hate that. Hate that so much. Take on Kuzmenko's expiring deal. So Kokoniemi for Ratu, but we have to use Jurmo and Valimaki, who probably have to go anyway, to pull it off. Fuck, this isn't going the way I wanted. What about a fourth? Just a touch. I'll fucking give you a touch. I'll give you 3 slaps across the face and a back elbow like Kevin Nash in the fucking 90s. Onto Ratu. Welcome. Welcome home. Again, I didn't necessarily want to get rid of Kokoniemi, but that was the right time. Ratu is now our number 2 center, which is really nice. So Laine is out of the question right now. Teuvo for Tolvanen. Hatanen could potentially slot in. Neiman in Vegas. We're going to make this pick. We're going to wait until the time ticks down a little bit more. So Seattle. In terms of players, have Tolvanen, who's obviously significantly younger than Teuvo, but they also have Odovainen as a prospect, and even he's a bit, actually, Jesus, they have Emil Järventie as well, and Nieminen. So they have a couple of players here. A Teuvo for Tolvanen swap. I mean, it's a 1 overall point difference, and Tolvanen's 4 years younger. I don't hate that at all. And then we get a couple of other pieces involved. We have some other options that we have to trade away as well. Defensively, Olimata's got to go. Robin Salo, Yoki Haru. Seattle would be over the cap by a lot. So Yoki Haru is the first one we can add. So Teravainen and Yoki Haru, as we try to pull off what would honestly be a pretty damn big trade for us. What about just straight up? Okay. Can I pull this off? What about a 4th rounder from Carolina? And the 2 7ths? Quite far off. It's probably too damn much, but honestly, that 3rd rounder could be used. Come on. Make a booed louder than Bettman, right? Quite close to fair value. Okay. Take out that 7th to a 5th rounder next year. So Teuvo, Yoki Haru, a 3rd and 4th this year, a 5th next year for Eli Tolvanen, Odovainen, Järventie, Nieminen. There we go. So we move on From Teuvo Teravainen, we get younger, much like we did at center. It is essentially Kokoniemi and Teravainen for Ratu and Tolvanen, which I don't hate at all. And then we brought in all that depth. So then we could still look at one more potential upgrade on the right wing side. But let's go ahead and make this official after 24 minutes. Jasper Inkinen's the pick. We tried like hell to get Laine instead. He is a 73 medium top 6 center who has quick draw, which is great. So, I mean, hardly a negative consolation prize for us. However, we only have 2 7th-round picks left for the rest of this draft. Shout out to Vane Galaxy for the follow. Appreciate you. So now is the time where if we can recoup any mid-range draft picks, we do it. So let's see what the hell is out there, because our goaltending is still just such a toss-up. We could get a 6th-rounder for Capo Kakkonen, to be honest. Why the hell not? I know it's from next year, but there's no reason to not do this. Because we could get someone like Capo Kakkonen back later, and again, goaltending, we need to keep it as cheap as possible. We know how goaltending is in this fucking mode. So we'll trade him for a 6th. Lankinen is going to be staying. Can I get anything for Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen? No, so he'll be staying as well. And then Emil Vinny is our project. Defensively, Heinola, Thompson, Honka, Lundell, Haimasami, Kiviharia. Still need to move Olimata if I can. Where do I live? The great state of Maine and the great city of this. And here's my home address. No, I do live in the state of Maine, though. 7th rounder isn't much for Olimata, but damn it, we clear out cap space. We'll send Olimata to Colorado to fuck them over for re-signing Mikko Rantanen. The bastards. Ever consider working for an organization? Of course, it's just that would never happen. Who wouldn't accept a job in a hockey front office? Who wouldn't accept a job with EA Sports if they'd smarten the fuck up? So Olimata out for a 7th. Robin Salo. 6th rounders. Where's the clock? It is 1:50 in the morning. And there's nothing better to do than to be playing this game. We'll send Robin Salo out to Winnipeg. Otavainen stays. Can I move Mikkola for anything? No, I cannot. Sputio. Can I move Vakanainen? No, I cannot. Can I move Hattaka? No, I cannot. Okay. That is about as good as we're going to get. In terms of bit pieces, recouping some draft picks. Can I get anything for Brock Besser's rights? No, I can't. Again, we'll be dropping him. We're not allowed to keep him. What about Armia's rights? Nothing. Puljujärvi? Nothing. Kiviranta? Nothing. 1 o'clock. It's almost 2. Well, fair. All right, Toronto's about to make their pick. Pettinen, Tolvanen. Can I get anything for Kuzmenko's rights? Nope. And I almost soft-locked the game because they made their pick right as I sent that trade offer through. So Luostarinen is in a really weird spot where he's probably going to be a center for us. We signed him to an 8-year deal. He might be expendable. He might be. He's going to be a weird one for us, unless he plays third line. Tolvanen could play the right, so he's probably fine. He's probably fine. Heponiemi, can I get anything for you? Nothing valuable, at least. Levi Aaltonen, anything for you? Okay, I think we're pretty much bits and pieced out. And we got a lot of depth at center now, which is great. Okay, there's not too much else we can do from this draft now. Again, we have some extra picks next year after having to give up a 3rd. We have 2 7ths. I don't really see how we get back into this draft. So I will probably sim ahead. We know there will be some prospects that we miss out on. That's just the way a draft works. So we have no chance to really trade up. So pick number 201 and 202. God, who do we have left pinned? We have a couple of players and they all look like shit. That sucks. We'll take this guaranteed medium bottom 6 option, Topi Luivara. Why not? We know he's a medium bottom 6. That's actually higher value than a 7th rounder. And we'll go for Pekka Paisanen from Luleå. Same thing. So that was one of the most interesting drafts I think I've ever had. That might be the draft with the fewest amount of picks with a bare minimum of at least one selection, which is nuts. But again, all in all, I feel like we are in a pretty good spot. Even if we couldn't pull off the Patrick Laine trade, Lord knows we tried. But who's to say we won't be able to get him next year? Who's to say he won't be there? Shout out to Tower Tom for the follow. Who's to say he won't be there next trade deadline for cheap? But we do have the likes of Husso and Ranta to re-sign. Honka's an RFA. We got to sign Lindell. Mikkola can probably be brought back. Same for Vakanainen. So not too much, man. Not too much. It's my PSN. I am more of an Xbox player. And in fairness, I think my PSN's up on... Yeah, there you go. This for Switch. Brock Besser. Obviously, we have to drop. Not allowed to keep him. We'll probably keep a lot of these lower-rated options, or at least let them go to free agency. Because why not? Got to drop Kuzmenko as well. We actually have $44 million in cap space, and it's not the cap space I'm worried about, it's the roster spots. And Ratu's an RFA as well, that's why we were able to get him. Okay. So Otto Sompi, we're going to drop for now. Can likely bring him back as an AHL filler. He's not a completely necessary player. Inkinen, who we just drafted, definitely bringing him in for the Marlies. Mr. Finland, we're going to drop you for now. You were our cap whale this past season. Make sure we were compliant. Järventie obviously stays. Heponiemi, I'm going to keep him as well. Koivula and Aaltonen. Koivula can go. So can Aaltonen. He's not going to get that much better. Not going to sign Paisanen. Armia, I would like to keep, but how expensive are you? Oh, not at all. Yeah, we'll see if we can keep Armia for dirt cheap. Same thing, Jesse Puljujärvi, Joel Kiviranta, Laine we can drop for the moment. So we'll keep some people for the AHL team and for general depth, but for the most part, we can let go of a lot of guys. That's a fair chunk of change for Esa Lindell. If we're giving you that much, we're going year by year, buddy. 1 year, $5 million. That's pretty pricey. We got to keep Mikkola, I would say, if we can. And then goalie-wise, Ville Husso. Again, if you want that much, we're going year by year. So I can opt out if need be. And then Ranta in his advanced age, that would be fine. So Ranta rejects. Puljujärvi rejects. Lindell signs, though. So does Kivi. Husso, Armia rejects. A lot more players rejected than I would have thought. Interesting. We got the RFAs that we got to sort out. All right, let's try this again. So, I mean, Ranta, I gave you exactly what you asked for, but I'll give you a raise. Armia, I'll offer you a little bit more. Mikkola, offer you that little bit more. And Puljujärvi, offer you that little bit more. And, all right, well, we're down to 2. Give Armia 1 by 1. And honestly, you can give Mikkola the same thing, even though he'll be in the AHL for us. Is that enough for you, gentlemen? Yes, it is. There we go. All right, so now it's just the RFAs. And how much money we elect to hand out. Luukkonen doesn't really matter. Won't be a big deal. Ratu. $8 years now for about $5 million. Once the 85% trick is kicked in. Or 4 years now, but knowing he could be an 87 plus by the time the deal's up and want more than $6 million. But then by the time he gets to 28, really 30 actually, how much money would he want at 30? I think we go for 8 years. I think we go for the 8-year deal. And again, hopefully there's no developmental stunting, given that he'll be playing second line time. But yeah, 85% trick brings it to 5.1 million, which I feel confident in paying. And then Anthony Honka, it's going to be the same thing. Let's just try to get you signed long-term right now. About 4.55, which also isn't bad if you can continue to prove that you can put up points. Robbie Yarventi might seem a little bit crazy, but I'm going to keep playing you on a second line spot. Again, I just hope that there's no craziness with developmental stunting on an 8-year deal like there used to be. Hepaniemi can sign for whatever. Vakanainen can sign for whatever. Yarventi rejected. Honka signed. Ratu rejected. Interesting. I wasn't expecting that from these two. Okay. Well, it was 5-1 for Ratu. Let's go to 5-2, or really 5.25. Which still isn't that bad. And then the Yarventi, I don't know if I'm going to be able to pull off this deal. We'll try 3 3/4. And if that doesn't work, we'll go shorter term. Yarventi rejected again. So did Ratu. Wow. All right. Well, we're not going with the 8-year deals for these two then. We will go for the 4-year deals to bring them to the end of RFA status. They are just not interested in those longer term deals yet, so we'll cross this bridge when we come to it. They both rejected that as well. Cool. Cool. Well, they're technically going to hit the open market as qualified offers, but that kind of sucks. Let's go ahead and save in case the worst case scenario happens.